Merci un peu l'honorable Charles Fumosayo. As some of you may know, we accomplished a milestone a few months ago. The Haitian Artists Assembly of Massachusetts brought the first all-woman art exhibit to City Hall, sharing our talent and culture with those working in City Hall. And my first day here, I started January 3rd, walking through the hallway for the first time and seeing Haitian artwork on my left and on my right. I just felt protected, and I just felt so much pride. And so I want to introduce and bring up here Charlot Lucien, the director of Haitian Artists Assembly of Massachusetts, the father of Malika Lucien, and the guy who made the art exhibit possible. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Now I'm going to connect to history. I saw earlier Councillor Michael Flaherty, and he was reminding me that we go back to more than 20 years. On May 4th, 2003, the late Mayor Thomas Menino proclaimed a Toussaint Louverture Day here in Boston. And that was the plaque that he gave back in 2003. Thank you for helping to continue the tradition. I'm going quickly to drop a few random pieces of information, and I'll try to connect them for you toward the end. When I say random, if you go right across the State House, you see this commemorative plaque for the 54th Regiment of Massachusetts, which fought during the Civil War. When you get deeper into history, you learn that Officer Delany, the first black officer, had named his son Toussaint Louverture Delany. You also learn that the 54th Regiment had named a number of their squads Toussaint Louverture or Dessalines squads. If you go on 40 Tremont Street, King's Chapel, you'll see a plaque with the name of Comte d'Estaing. This is the French officer who traveled from Haiti with 1,500 blacks and mulattoes to fight alongside the American rebel against the British at the Battle of Savannah. On the same Tremont Street, Frederick Douglass was beaten as he came to deliver a speech about the abolition movement, including the recognition of Haiti. On the same Tremont Street, that also in this area that Charles Sumner petitioned, advocated for Abraham Lincoln to recognize Haiti, which, by the way, spent 56 years after Jefferson imposed an embargo not to recognize Haiti's independence. So when we talk about the Boston, the roots are deep. It's not just Boston. You go up in Salem, one of the fiercest defenders of Haiti to prevent the embargo from being imposed on Haiti was Congressman Timothy Pickering. You go down in Quincy, you find also that John Adams was the first, for the first time, the US had provided naval support to a friend nation in July of 799. That was John Adams helping Toussaint Louverture. Why I am evoking history? That's the past. Right now, as we speak, do your search. You search Haiti in Missouri, Haiti in North Dakota, Haiti in North Carolina. There are 4 towns named Haiti between 1863 and 1869 by blacks at the time. Please do search. Toussaint Louverture Cemetery was built in 1879 in Tennessee. Virginia, you have the Toussaint Louverture Hospital that was built in 1863 to welcome blacks who fought the Civil War. I'm pointing out to you that throughout the east coast of the US, you have at least 10 states that have tangible monuments, memorials, that tell us about the impact of the Haitian Revolution here on Boston. So for some reason, I think that we in Boston, we are behind. Boston has always been the first, whether down here, where the first black man fell fighting for black abolition. You know the name. So there's something missing in Boston. This Toussaint Louverture Cultural Center will help those kids to preserve the memory and the legacy of Haiti. Will not just those Haitian American kids, all kids in Boston, white or black. We also are behind in something. When you have, as we speak, a Jean-Jacques Dessalines High School in Missouri built in 1870, when you have again Louverture Hospital in Virginia, when you have Louverture Cemetery in Tennessee, it's abnormal. It's a failure to honor history and the legacy of Boston if we don't have a monument, a memorial for Toussaint Louverture on Copley Square or somewhere here in downtown Boston. Toussaint Louverture was named in 1802. 1802 by the London Register, Man of the Year in England. So it's totally an abnormality not to have this memorial, a monument again for Toussaint Louverture in Boston. So I will end here letting all of us, members of the audience, dignitaries, to think it through, because the Haitian American community is ready to work on this with all of you. Thank you very much.